That's how it starts. The fever, the rage, the feeling of powerlessness that turns good men cruel.
Given the hype behind Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice, a lot has been writing on this. Ever since the massive Easter egg at the beginning of 2007's I Am Legend, people have been eagerly awaiting a Batman vs. Superman crossover film. And now, love it or hate it, it's finally here. A lot of debate over its polarizing reviews have been brewing online, and many of you are wondering which side of the argument is more accurate. Put simply, Batman vs. Superman isn't anywhere close to being one of the best superhero movies ever made. But it isn't one of the worst either. There are several aspects of the film that are excellent, and many that drag the movie down into the gutter. Probably the core problem comes down to that the movie tries to do so many things when in fact it should have only been trying to do one thing. First things first, if you haven't watched Man of Steel, you should probably avoid seeing Batman vs. Superman until you have. The film acts as a direct follow-up and mentions and shows numerous characters and key moments from Man of Steel. There was no explanation for certain references and cameos that pertain to Man of Steel, and as such can really be confusing for the casual moviegoer. If you found the references with Marvel Cinematic Universe movies to be too demanding, then you'll hate Batman vs. Superman. The Marvel movies can at least manage to somewhat act as an individual film of their own right, without requiring seeing everything out there. Batman vs. Superman does not. If you watch them back to back even, the two films can almost seem like one massive film. The story takes up almost 2 years after the events of Man of Steel, and centers around the growing debate around whether Superman should remain on Earth, saving and protecting the public, or should leave and find refuge elsewhere on another world. Enter Batman, who sees Superman as an uncontrollable power that one day will turn for the worst and become Earth's worst enemy. I'll stop here to avoid spoiling anything further. The story does evolve further to include a young Lex Luthor and an unknown plot being laid out by the eccentric billionaire. Overall, the story of Batman vs. Superman works, but could have been better. One massive criticism I had is with the focus of scrutiny within the film. For some reason, a large focus of criticism on Superman is because of an event that happens in Africa that had barely any witnesses. Yet the events of the destruction of Metropolis is brushed off as if nothing damaging happened to Superman's image. It was a missed opportunity to show that major offense within the DC universe would have scrutiny and criticism of characters within the film, instead of the jovial brush off the shoulders that Marvel films seem to have. Granted, Captain America: Civil War is due out in May and is supposed to focus on this key issue. However, this was a chance to get to the finish line before DC's competitor. Another issue is with Lex Luthor. Jesse Eisenberg never convinced me of his performance. There were small glimmers of light with his delivery of the character, but much of it felt like a half-baked attempt at doing his already half-baked performance as Mark Zuckerberg. The problem doesn't solely rest on Eisenberg's performance, however. The writing also showed promise, hinting at an innocent reason behind his motives, but ultimately comes off as the ideals of a lunatic. It was originally hinted that Bryan Cranston was going to be Lex Luthor, and I would have much rather preferred to see Bryan Cranston in this role than Eisenberg. Elsewhere in the story, the writers and directors try to show that this is a setup for a larger shared universe, but it all falls flat. Almost all of the cameos feel forced and don't pan out. The dream sequence was cool, but weird at the same time, and the segment of file footage doesn't inspire the wonder that the Marvel films gave. On a side note, I didn't like who they cast as the Flash. These scenes felt out of place and hindered the film overall. Worst of all is Wonder Woman. Gal Gadot delivered a strong performance as Wonder Woman, and for the most part, she looked the part and held her own as the character made famous by Linda Carter, both as Diana Prince and Wonder Woman. That being said, the movie could have been made without her. She wasn't crucial to the story whatsoever, and her forced addition added to the main plot of the movie. None of these characters get enough screen time, and that's saying something for a 2.5-hour movie. It's very apparent that Warner Brothers wanted to get similar box office numbers that the Avengers gained with a Justice League movie, but didn't want to spend the time that Marvel Studios committed to. Screen time for all the characters comes out short, including Batman, who had the most screen time. The lack of screen time for Superman Batman wouldn't have been so bad if we had gotten a solo Batman movie first before Batman vs. Superman was released. Now the elephant in the room. Batman. Simply put, Batman is the best part of the movie. Ben Affleck delivers the best performance in the film, and he completely owns the character, causing me to look forward to the next film he'll make an appearance in as The Dark Knight. Practically everything about Batman is excellent. Ben Affleck does a great job as both Bruce Wayne and Batman, and is in the running for being my favorite Batman all around. His voice is gravelly, but not too gravelly. His introduction, both as Bruce Wayne and as Batman, are superb. His lines are badass, his fight scenes are brutal in a great way, the Batmobile and Batwing aren't the worst designs, Jeremy Irons is perfect as Alfred, his mask fits him correctly, and the motivations and mentality of character are also superb. While many might find fault in that Batman uses numerous firearms and that he even kills throughout the movie, the actions fit with the character. In the movie, this Batman is an established figure that has been waging his one-man crusade for the past 20 years, and as such, Affleck's Batman is older, cynical, bitter, unoptimistic, brutal, and carries past scars that has led him to both fear and hate Superman as a single-minded vigilante. Even the rehashed scene of the murder of his parents manages to work with the film. With that being said, I think I can speak for everyone that if Batman is remade 100 more times, we don't ever need to see his parents killed again. It's a dead horse that we've all seen kicked too many times in slow motion. Another downside of the film is the poor inclusion of the character Doomsday. Not only is the design of the character the least menacing, it's also the most wasted. This would be the equivalent of Marvel throwing in a character like Thanos or Ultron in the first Avengers movie as a secondary character that is then discarded to never be used again. Doomsday is a character that could even justify his own Justice League movie, but instead he's rounded down to a mindless and speechless animal. And there were some odd plot holes, like why certain characters' identities were oddly discovered without any explanation as to how the discovery took place. Equally, I didn't know what to make of the religious themes explored within the movie. The question of if Superman is a god or not at times works, but at other times feels off. It's always been a point of discussion on this topic, and I didn't know what to take away from this. And finally, while some saw this as a downside, the ratio of fight scenes compared with the dialogue-driven scenes leans towards the latter. There aren't many fight scenes in the movie, and personally I enjoyed the heavier focus away from the brawls and action set pieces. Not because I don't like those, mind you. I felt that the story was the main focus over seeing Superman and Batman duking it out. That being said, the fight everyone wants to see is rather good and has a great climactic ending. Like I said earlier, Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice suffers because it was trying to do too many things at once, when in the end it should have focused on just Batman vs. Superman. Practically every other new character apart from Batman and Alfred could have been cut from the film for the greater good and not suffer the story. Overall, it's a fun film with many faults, and it's worth seeing solely for Batman alone. If you're open about DC superhero movies and you like the movie Man of Steel, then you should give this a try.
To the death.
We rate this a 7 out of 11.